The U.S. Supreme Court has overturned the historic Roe v. Wade ruling. Abortion could now become illegal in at least 22 U.S. states, ending 50 years of a precedent. What this could essentially mean is that over 36 million women could lose access to abortion. Now, as we speak, protests have broke out in Los Angeles and New York. This was something that many had foreseen, because abortion is a topic that invokes differing views across the country.
I came out today for my sisters, for my family today. I have a mom, I have a sister, I have any future daughters I may have. They'll be affected by this decision ultimately, and it's just very sad.
I feel like it's a step backwards. There's been a lot of progress made since the Roe v. Wade decision was passed originally, and I felt like the country was kind of going in the right direction. So to hear that something like this has happened just feels like a big step backwards.
The ruling has handed a momentous victory to Republicans and religious conservatives. The pro-lifers are jubilant. A decision like this seemed practically impossible only a few years ago.
I know that they have the my body, my choice, but for me, the baby also has a fundamental right. And I know that to some people that feels like then you're sort of stripping away the rights of the mother. I believe we really as a nation need to come together behind women and provide resources.
Until now, in the United States, abortion was guided by the landmark Supreme Court case, Roe v. Wade. The 1973 case decided to access to abortion is a constitutional right. The 1992 ruling, Planned Parenthood v. Casey, further upheld it. It says that women can get an abortion until the fetus is viable. That's usually around 22 to 24 weeks. The ruling was overturned by a conservative majority ruling, out of which 3 justices are Trump appointees. Clarence Thomas first voted to overrule Roe v. Wade 30 years ago. Chief Justice John Roberts did not join the opinion. He agreed that the Mississippi abortion restriction at issue in the case should be upheld. But in a separate opinion, he argued that the court should not have overturned Roe v. Wade. Justices Stephen Breyer, Sonia Sotomayor and Elena Kagan, the liberal wing of the court, dissented. This is what the majority judgment says. And I quote, "Abortion presents a profound moral issue on which Americans hold sharply conflicting views. The Constitution does not prohibit the citizens of each state from regulating or prohibiting abortion." End of quote. Overturning Roe v. Wade means that the U.S. will join countries that restrict abortion rights. Since 1994, only 3 countries have done this, namely Poland, El Salvador, and Nicaragua. So the United States now joins this group. Take a look at the map on your screens. The United States, the states marked in red are the ones that will definitely restrict abortion. How that Roe v. Wade has fallen. There are at least 22 states where abortion is set to become illegal. Most of these are Republican-controlled states. Texas and Missouri have already banned abortion. Texas has even declared June 24th as a holiday. There are 13 states that have so-called trigger laws in place, which will lead to an immediate ban. They are Arkansas, Idaho, Kentucky, Louisiana, Mississippi, Missouri, North Dakota, South Dakota, Tennessee, Utah, Texas, Oklahoma, and Wyoming. These states are mostly in the south and west of United States. The ones in orange are the ones where it will be accessible, but not protected. The yellow states are the ones where abortion will continue to be legal. In the states marked in blue, abortion will not only be legal, they will moreover provide expanded access to those seeking abortion in America. Democratic governors are already pushing to enshrine abortion rights within their constitutions. West Coast states of California, Oregon, Washington have issued a joint pledge to defend abortion rights. Now, until now, abortion was legal in every U.S. state. Each state has at least one clinic. But now that Roe v. Wade has fallen, it will create more and more new illegal landmines. Rapidly eroding the individual rights of U.S. citizens, red states will try to limit interstate travel for women traveling for abortions. Packages with abortion pills could be searched and seized, and doctors could be arrested for criminal charges. And for more on this, we are being joined by Irina Sukumen, CEO of Scarab Rising in New York. Welcome to the broadcast, ma'am. Can you please explain to our viewers what you mean when you say that abortion was never a constitutional right in the U.S. and the Roe v. Wade law only provided a right to privacy for those seeking abortion?
The U.S. constitutional text has a Bill of Rights that enumerates specific rights guaranteed by the Constitution. Abortion was never within the framework of the Bill of Rights. It was never explicitly defined as one of the rights guaranteed by the Constitution. In fact, the so-called right to privacy that was traditionally interpreted as protecting abortion as a private matter of those seeking abortion was likewise not brought in from the framework of the Bill of Rights, but rather from the so-called penumbra of unenumerated rights, meaning rights that are not explicitly stated in the Constitution. It was essentially a mishmash of interpretations of different other parts of constitutions that created a right that otherwise was not written inside the Constitution or even directly interpreted as such. For that reason, it is very difficult to claim that it was a constitutional right. It's hard to claim that even the right to privacy necessarily guarantees a right to abortion.
Now, the United States Supreme Court is conservative-leaning, in which 3 judges alone were appointed by former U.S. President Donald Trump. The appointments are being seen as his most lasting legacy. But a recent poll shows that around 2/3 of Americans wanted the law to stand. What are your thoughts on that?
The reality is that particular case has been widely criticized by many Americans from the very start because, as I said, it has relied on rulings, on opinions that did not have any basis in the law and did not have any direct relation to the facts of that particular case. It went beyond the facts of the case and created a precedent that was very problematic, politically troubling, and was increasingly erased over the course of time because it was so broad and so vaguely defined. As the science concerning the medical circumstances around abortion, their risk to women's health, and the viability of the fetus evolved, so did the understanding of the abortion. In fact, the support for abortions has fallen across the United States, and fewer people have sought abortions over decades. For that reason, the overturn of the law should not come as a particular shock. It has been, the support for various parts of it have been eroded over time by other cases that have stricken down the absolute nature of the initial interpretation of that case.
Now, you see, critics are concerned that overturning of the Roe v. Wade will definitely change the law, but it will not settle the arguments over abortion. In fact, it might inflame them. Now, in short term, protests are already happening as we speak, as we told you, and in the long term, abortions won't really stop. Women will just have to find unsafe methods to do it. It has already been seen in the countries that have made abortion illegal. Do you see this as a possible threat?
It would have been potentially a threat maybe 50 years ago. In this day and age, very few people need to put their lives at risk in order to get to get an abortion. And furthermore, as I said, fewer and fewer people need to seek abortion outside emergency situations. Politically speaking, every time there is a law that appears to be extreme in response to a common political controversy, it is eventually voted out. So there is a it's very unlikely that women whose lives are in danger and who need to have a medical procedure to save their lives, that they're going to be stopped from doing so or prosecuted by the law.
Right. Now, before I let you go, just one last question. Activists are also concerned that the other landmark decisions by the US Supreme Court, like right to contraceptives and right to gay marriage, are also going to come under the lens. Do you think that's a viable threat?
I think the way laws, the way I think many people don't understand the way cases come before the Supreme Court. They come before the Supreme Court when there is a particular controversy that challenges the rights of another party. I don't foresee cases where I don't foresee that all these interpretations are going to be completely stricken down or that people would be deprived of their rights. I think, however, there is a trend for the federal government to try to give more power to the people directly, more power to the state legislatures to make decisions on important issues, as has been the structure of the United States from its inceptions. There has been a lot of criticism for the Supreme Court playing a role of decision makers by a very small group of people over vastly important issues. And I think to the extent those issues affect huge populations, that criticism is correct. I think states and legislatures which are voted in by the populations of the states should be the decision makers, because the people themselves are best positioned to protect the rights of both the majorities and the minorities.
Right, leaving it there, that was Irina Sukumin from New York. Thanks for joining.
Thank you very much.